system. Now we'll see what are the different types of actuators that are present. In both hydraulic and pneumatic systems, you are having linear actuators, or simply they are called as a cylinder. So whenever we say cylinder, it means there is a cylinder, that is a tube or barrel inside which there is a piston and the ends are closed. The piston is able to move forward and backward, or piston is reciprocating in a straight line. So whenever we say linear actuator, it is used to generate straight line movement. Next one is a rotary actuator. Whenever we say rotary actuator, the output will be in the rotation. That is what is the output you are going to get. Now when you are having the rotation, you will have some two types. One, it can rotate continuously. Like a ordinary electrical motor, it can rotate continuously for any amount of time. Then such a rotary actuator is simply called as a motor. Whenever it's a hydraulic motor or whenever it's a pneumatic motor, usually it means it can rotate continuously for a long period of time without having any issues. The next one is the limited rotation actuator. Limited rotation actuator is nothing but a curved cylinder. You can consider it as a curved cylinder wherein you are going to get the rotation for a certain angle. Beyond that, it has to move in the opposite direction. For example, you are having a rotary actuator which is having a limited rotation. Once you start supplying the fluid, it will start to rotate. So from 0 degrees, it is starting to rotate for up to 90 degrees. Beyond that, it may not be possible. Depending on the design, it may go even up to 300 degrees, that is the maximum. But usually it will be around 270 or 280 degrees. So the motor is going to rotate in clockwise direction from 0 to 270. Then it has to return back. Or it is also possible to return in between also. There is no limitation. But it cannot make 360 and continuously rotation. Usually it is not possible in case of limited rotation actuators. So you are having linear actuator. You are having a to and fro motion. The maximum movement distance the piston can travel, it is called as a stroke length in case of linear actuator, and that will be a limitation. In case of rotary actuator, you can have continuous rotation or you can have limited rotation. Limited rotation, the upper limit for rotation is 300 degrees. So from 0 to 300 degrees, you can get movement. After that, it has to return back to the 0 degree position. Then again, it can rotate in the forward direction. So it can twist continuously, it can twist in one direction and then it can return back in the other direction. So these are the three main types of actuators which are used in the hydraulics and pneumatic systems. So now we will see their construction, what are the general features of each of these types. First one is a hydraulic cylinder. The construction of hydraulic cylinder and a pneumatic cylinder will be more or less the same. There will not be much of a difference. So cylinder means you will be having a cylindrical tube that is called as a barrel. You can see component number 2 here. That is a cylindrical portion, that is a tube. The inner surface should be very accurately machined. If there are a lot of unevenness, roughness is there, then the oil will simply leakage from the high pressure side to the low pressure side or from this side to this side. So there will be movement of the oil. So if this leakage happens, you are going to lose the power or the required force is not possible to develop. So inner surface should be properly machined. The outer surface can be anything. It can be made up of a casting or it may be made of a extrusion or it can be made up of rolling or any other method. And you need not do any kind of machining on the outer surface. The only thing is the inner surface should be properly machined. Now if you are having a simple tube is not sufficient, the two ends of the tube has to be properly closed. They are called as end covers. That is component number 1 and component number 6. That is a cylinder head. So these two are commonly called as a cylinder caps or end covers because they are trying to cover the barrel from both the ends. Then this one is a piston, that is number 3. That is what is reciprocating from one side to the other side. So piston movement is transferred to the load through this one. That is number 5. That is a piston rod. So piston rod is connected to the piston. This will be moving along with the piston. So you can connect to the load to move in the direction, or you can connect to the levers or links to get the required kind of motion. Then number 4 is important. That is the seal. That is a piston seal. It will try to prevent the leakage. Then you are having another seal here. That is the 7. That is a rod seal. Now why this rod seal is required? Rod seal is required to prevent the flow of oil from the cylinder into the atmosphere. So if the oil is continuously leaking here, you will have loss of oil, you will have loss of power, you will have loss of pressure. So in order to prevent it, you are using the seal number 7. Next one is 9 and 8. 9 and 8 are the cylinder ports. Now what is the kind of this cylinder? This cylinder construction is for a double acting cylinder. Now what is the double acting cylinder? Double acting cylinder means you can supply the fluid on both the sides of the piston and you are able to control the force output during both the movements. So that is called as a double acting cylinder. So you can supply high pressure fluid through port 8, then it is moving forward and it is able to generate the force. If you are supplying the fluid at a 9, then the piston is moving backwards, so it can pull the component with a lot of force. So whatever oil is there on the other side, it is going back to the direction control valve, and from there it is going into the reservoir or the tank. Now the maximum distance a piston can move inside the cylinder, that is called as the piston stroke. So you can have 300 millimeter pistons, you can have 600 millimeter pistons, or you can have 100 millimeter pistons. 100 millimeter means usually it is the stroke. Now how is the power calculated? So the power calculated is based on the force. The force is developed because the fluid is acting on the area, the surface area of the piston here. So that is pi d square by 4 is the area of the piston on which the fluid is acting. So this force multiplied by the velocity at which the piston is moving. From that you can calculate what is the power output of this particular cylinder. So that is about the construction of the hydraulic cylinder. Now what are the materials? You can have aluminum, you can have steel for all these elements. Even the piston can be made up of steel, but the piston outer diameter should be properly machined so that it is sliding smoothly on the inside. Even the piston rod should be properly machined. The end caps, they can be welded here and joined to the barrel. Then it will be a permanent one. If you are having any repair or something, you have to break the weld and then again you have to do the machining. Or you can use some bolts and nuts to connect the barrel and the end caps. That is also possible. Or if it is of a lower pressure application, then you can use threaded ends. So end cap will have thread, cylinder also, this barrel also will have threads. You can simply tighten the threads and you can make the connection. So different types of connections are possible between the end caps and the barrels. So the strongest of them all is a welded, but it is a permanent joint. So if you want to do any repair or something, you have to cut the weld and then you have to do the repair and then again you have to make the welding. So that is a difficult activity. So whenever you want to do frequent opening and other things and maintenance activities are there, then you are not going for welded end caps. You are going for either threaded or bolted ones. So this is about the hydraulic cylinder. Now next one is a pneumatic cylinder. So whenever we say single acting cylinder, you are usually applying force in the one direction, the other direction you are not applying any force. Now the question is, how will you get the motion in the other direction? So to get the motion in the second direction, either you are having the spring or you are having the gravity. Now we'll see the spring loaded. So you are having the cylinder here, which is having a spring on one side. This spring can be present on the piston side or it can be present on the rod end side, depending on the construction. Now if you are supplying the fluid into the cylinder, the piston is going to move forward, applying the pressure. Now you want to pull back the load or you want to simply open the door, something, then you don't want to apply a lot of force here. So you just have to stop the supply of the fluid here and you have to open this particular port by controlling the direction control valve. Then when this port is opened, the oil here is already under pressure and you are having the spring on the other side. Because of the spring, the piston will be pushed backward. When the piston is pushed backward by the spring, the oil is forced out of this particular port and the piston is retracting. Again, if you want to have the forward motion, again you are supplying the oil or compressed air here, the piston is moving forward. So in one direction only, you are applying the hydraulic fluid or the pneumatic fluid to generate the motion. In the other direction, it is coming by means of the spring. So if you are having a spring to return the piston, that is called as a spring return single acting cylinder. Now second one is the gravity return. Now it is used only in the vertical position most of the times or in an inclined position. So gravity return cannot be used in the horizontal position. So in this case, what happens? So you are having the port, you are supplying the fluid. Because of the pressure, the load is lifted upwards. Once you are completed the task and you want to lower the load, you just have to open the port. Whatever fluid is there, fluid is escaping, the load is going to. So the construction of single acting cylinder is the same for both hydraulic systems as well as the pneumatic systems. Now the car jack, whatever you are using to lift the car for making puncture repairs and other things, that is a simple example of a single acting hydraulic cylinder. So whenever you are using your arm to pump the fluid, the oil is entering into the cylinder, and after you are satisfied, you just have to open or push a small button in the hydraulic jack. When you press that, the valve will open and the oil in the cylinder is simply going into the tank, so that the load is coming down. So that is the construction of the single acting cylinder. So this is another example of the single acting cylinder. This is the main port here. Actual construction, different components are shown. This you are having the seal here, and you are having the piston, and you are having the connecting piston rod here. So here you are connecting the load. High pressure air is coming from this side. When the air is coming, the piston is going to move forward in this direction. Whatever air is present here, it is escaping through the vent. This is only the provision for air to escape. If you are not making this provision, then what will happen? When you are supplying high pressure air and this portion is closed, the air present on the other side will be compressed. When the air present on the other side is compressed, at some point the piston cannot move forward because pressure on one side will be equal to the pressure on the supply side. The piston will simply stop. So in order to avoid that, you are having a escape vent through which the air will easily escape. So once you continuously supply the high pressure air, the piston will move forward to the end. The load is moved on the other side. When you want the piston to return, you are simply stopping the high pressure air supply here, and you are allowing the air to escape into the atmosphere. Then the piston will return backwards. So this is a construction of single acting cylinder. Now this is a double acting cylinder. You can see the figure, it is more or less very similar to the construction of the double acting cylinder of a hydraulic system. You are having two ports. One is extension port, other one is the retraction port. Retraction port means supplying here, the piston is going to move backwards. Extension port means you are supplying the oil here, the piston is going to move forward. Again, you are having different types of seals here, and another seal will be here. Then this is the barrel. So in the barrel, you can make it of aluminum in case of pneumatic systems, because the pressure is operated at a lower end, maybe 6 bar or 10 bar. But in case of hydraulics, the pressure can be as high as 100 bar or 200 bar. So the construction will be on the heavier side for the hydraulic systems. For pneumatic systems, the construction will be on the simpler side. So that is a double acting cylinder of the pneumatic system. Functioning of the various elements and other things are the same.